Yo, 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 what's going on, fam out there? It's your boy Tahir Johnson, and we are back with another episode of the Cannabis Diversity Report. Today, I've got the homie all the way from the West Coast, Mariah Dodson. What's good? What's going on?
Man, good. How are you doing? I'm just excited to be here. All the way from the West Coast, right? West to East is how we're rolling.
Yeah, and it's early morning out there too, so I definitely appreciate you, coming through 8 a.m. Cali time. But I know you be up. I see you on social media. You're an early bird like me.
Yeah, absolutely. Early bird get the worm first, so we gotta, we should get by 6 a.m. every day. That's the goal.
That's what's up. That's what's up. That's how you get it. Well, like I said, it's definitely a pleasure to have you on. Just being around the industry, following you, seeing all the inspirational content you put out, seeing all the dope moves you're making out there is definitely a pleasure. Oh, and by the way, it's Women's History Month, International Women's Week, and all of that. So definitely got to give you your flowers, for making dope moves for especially young women out here. Like, you know what I'm saying?
That's what it's
Like
about.
definitely making moves. So, for folks out there, could you just talk a little bit about who you are, what you do, how you got into the cannabis industry?
Okay, awesome. Well, shout out to all the women out there. Happy Women's History Month. I think that it's really important that women get a spot in this industry, in business in general. So I hope that some of the things that I could say could inspire some other women to get into the game. But my name is Mariah Dodson. I am a serial entrepreneur, business passion. I am currently the founder and CEO of Evolution of Healing, where we manufacture, distribute, and retail CBD products. I'm also a cannabis licensing and, working on a few projects, but just trying to stay plugged in into the industry, keep growing, keep my head down, and really just piecing together how to make it in this world. So those are a couple little things, but I'm excited for the next year. Very impactful. So.
Right. And like you said, definitely a serial entrepreneur, as you mentioned, a couple different projects. What was it that attracted you to getting into the industry? How did you end up in cannabis?
Okay, so, I'm come from the military. I did 7 years in the United States Army, and it really just showed me like a different level of service. What does it take to be able to advance, but also serve, the world? And a lot of my battles, they really did suffer. Like they suffered so many different things from pain to PTSD, and they were just fed, literally just fed these pills. So I was just always searching for another way. Like there has to be a way that these people could have their quality. I remember being curious and just having these questions, literally. And I always say cannabis kind of fell in my lap, or I fell right into it. I actually was developing a veterans home, just remodeling it. And in the city I was remodeling it in, I go to get a building permit, and literally that same day they talked about cannabis, and I was like, what? Like what they say? So go into the meeting, and it was game on from there. Just being able to understand that cannabis hits on all pieces. It hits on health equity, it hits on social justice, prison reform. And I was like, thank you, God. Like this is what it's about. This is another level of service. This is the Army times a hundo. So that's really what drove me. It was the possibility for impact. So
Yeah, and I think that's such a dope background. Like you said, coming from the Army, serving in the military, and then keeping that culture of service and coming into the industry. Could you talk a little bit about, because I read that you had actually started out at Virginia State University. Shout out to my HBCUs. But then you actually were called to service in the military. So talk a little bit about what led you to do that, but then also like what you really learned from that experience of being in the military.
and like you said, shout out to the HBCUs. It just brought like a different level of awareness, right? Like being at VSU, it really did. It brought a different level of awareness of what we're here trying to do, like, and what this community of the HBCU was trying and doing. So while I was there, it just like I really was just like overwhelmed with like love and culture, and then just like in it though, right? In the middle of it, going to school, the parties, that life, and just trying to navigate like right then in that moment of just like, Like, what is my purpose? What do I need to do to serve this mission, but in the way that I can do the best? So literally, like the year after, literally just was a freshman. The year after, I was like, I need to join the Army. I think that's the next best thing for me to be able to advance and serve on the level that I want to. So then I enlisted in the Army, and that was a fast track of life lessons. In the Army, it's not about you. You're fighting for the person to the left or your right. We had to figure out our own missions amongst our own platoon, our own tribe, of what we're serving. And a lot of times it ended up not being, what we were called to do on that mission. It literally became our own collective mission amongst our battles. Right. So that level of awareness continued to move me, and push me to understand that we're each here for a purpose, and it's important that we execute upon our purpose. So, I mean, the journey in the military was really all about purpose, all about service, and logistics. So the couple skills too. So it was good. It was good stuff.
Absolutely. Well, yeah, I mean, especially when you talk about like something like logistics, I'm sure there's probably all types of game and just discipline that you've learned just in your everyday life that you're able to apply to what you do now, for sure.
Man, what I tell you, my daddy a college football coach. So if I was 1 minute late to home, I was up at 4 a.m. doing bear crawls, crab rolls, push-ups, running sprints, right along with the football players. So that my childhood brought me to be able to just kind of flow into the military. I was like, no, 4 a.m. What's up? Yeah, I can do yes, drill sergeant. So it really is, a collection of life experiences. But yeah, the Army is another level of discipline for sure. It requires another level of tenacity, persistence, and shout out to all my battles out there who's still serving. So
yeah. And so you said your pops was a college football coach. So you gotta tell me, where did he coach? And so you got hands? Can you catch? You run? Like what's your play?
I'm the oldest girl, so I was the boy. I was the top. I was the oldest girl, so yeah, I could catch. I could, I don't know what my 40 is. I could run it all. Yeah, so he coached at ODU, Old Dominion University, and then University at Buffalo, and then now he's at St. Thomas University in Minneapolis. So we've been everywhere. I've been to 6 different schools. So.
Wow. Okay. Damn. So you moved around with football. That had to be a pretty cool experience too.
Absolutely. I think that we're all at our core, we're all the same, but depending on where you at, in the States, we're just kind of different, everyone's a little different in their own way. So it was a north, south, east, and west. So able to get a better people.
And so going back to your experience in the military and kind of connecting it to cannabis, one of the things that we often hear about, one of the most common conditions that cannabis is prescribed for medically is PTSD. And I know that that's something that largely affects the veteran community. Did that have any impact on your decision to get into cannabis?
Absolutely. I really will say we're just at the beginning of this industry. And so we're just being able to get a better understanding of where we could play a role, where our companies can play a role, and really being able to help these people. I know for myself, we have a CBD store, but where I'm located is in between a pharmacy and a medical clinic. So everyone that walks through my door is a patient, right? So a lot of these patients are kind of hesitant about cannabis, which that's okay. The name of our company is Evolution of Healing. So we're willing to do that evolution with these veterans specifically, right? So they come in, we educate them about the plant, the whole plant, and then depending on their comfort level is what we recommend to them. So a lot of these vets are able to start to find relief with CBD. Granted that they understand that they would find better relief with, the whole plant cannabis. The willingness is where it begins at, right? So now from them trying CBD, they're seeing results for their PTSD, their anxiety, their pain, and now they're becoming more aware. They're becoming advocates. In essence, they're becoming advocates. So that's where it's at.
Right. So talk a little bit more about Evolution of Healing. I mean, that was how did you come to be located right there? Was that on purpose? Because that's a very smart business decision to do that.
I wish I could say, yeah. I wish I could. It was. I mean, it really was strategic. we started off as consultants in the industry. So this was literally just an admin office. There's like 7 offices in here. And then in the front part is like a 400 small square foot space. But, you know, truly, it's just like, how many pivots have you had to take in this industry with it being brand new? So before, we were like the next level of healing. And I remember having a conversation with my pops, and then he's just like, but you know, this is an evolution. And they're just like, whoosh, like it came, and I was like, wow, we are the evolution of healing. But truthfully, like I said, we start off as just an admin office, just for our clients to come here. And then over time, over pivots, really wanting to figure out how we could serve our community in that moment with, you know, I mean, I know all of us really understand regulations, bureaucracy, cities. It's kind of crazy out here. So one of the things that we could do was we could navigate how to launch products, how to communicate with our customers, how to collect data. And so truthfully, you know, I remember just like literally one day I was just like, you know what, we're gonna have to launch a CBD store. We need that flow, and we need that learning experience, and our community needs this. So truthfully, the shop just kind of naturally evolved. So it was
Right.
And I woke up, you know, and I was just like, dang, well, that's kind of awesome. There's a medical clinic and a farm, you know, so it was like workout. So
Right. And so talk a little bit more about CBD. You know, I think that is one of those areas, like you said, of evolution, especially as people are getting to understand cannabis. It is somewhere where a lot of people can get started if they're not interested in THC. But even more than that, CBD itself has so many different actually healing and medical benefits. So could you just talk a little bit about CBD and the benefits and why it's helpful for people?
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, this is one of my favorite conversations. So we all have, you know, what's called an endocannabinoid system. And in that endocannabinoid system, you need vitamins and nutrients to be able to enrich it so that your body can reach homeostasis. When you are at homeostasis, you truly are a superhero. I mean, I don't, you really can fight off inflammation, sickness, disease, stress. So you are a healthier being when you are at homeostasis. Now we have 115 plus cannabinoids, and CBD is one of them. CBD is one of them. It comes from, you know, the hemp plant. So hemp and cannabis are brother and sister. And what has happened is that the government has just made it so hard, so difficult for us to access THC. So CBD is a pretty good alternative, right? Easier to access, and sometimes it's cheaper. It, you know, a lot of people are kind of worried about that psychoactive feeling. Won't provide it on that level that THC does, but it will still provide some of the release to your body, to homeostasis. So it's an incredible cannabinoid, and I'm excited to continue to learn and launch all about the other 113 that we have to go. So I think
Right.
entrepreneurs, you know, I've been saying this for like a year now, and I appreciate the platform to say it. If you want to get into the cannabis industry, CBD is an incredible way. You will learn all about, like I was saying, data collection, how to launch a product, how to formulate a product, you know, all these different things, suppliers, sources, distribution, retail. So I would love to be a resource for anyone looking to get into the cannabis industry through the evolution of CBD. So that'd be
Right. Right. And speaking of, you know, another reason it's such a great idea is because there's so much less regulatory burden than, you know, applying for a cannabis business for sure.
that's the truth. You know, cannabis, they crazy. Cannabis is the most highly regulated industry in almost the world, I believe. Right? We're having to jump through hoops on fire backwards. That's my go-to saying. Like, they literally make us jump through hoops on fire backwards.
Hmm.
So when we applied for our cannabis license, our binder was like this big. They want to know A through Z. For CBD, it will eventually maybe be half that size, but it is a lot less regulated, and you have more freedom, more ability to get to market. So
Right. And as you mentioned, CBD is one of many cannabinoids that we have.
yeah,
And with the scratching the surface, not really knowing a lot about all of them. One of the ones I hear people talking a lot about now is this new Delta 8. What can you say about that? What's your opinion on that?
Man, I really don't like talk about what I really know. I really don't know a lot about the Delta 8, but I think like what a loophole. Like I think that is just an incredible loophole for our industry, right? For people who okay, for people who want to get into cannabis, um and really just being able to reflect on like the industry's future, right? If they're only regulating so strictly THC that comes from cannabis, one of the loopholes that we have is this entire hemp plant. I know there's a lot of things coming out about it being synthetic, but it's still it's originated from a plant, right? Half our food ain't as clean as our hemp and cannabis. So I think that the Delta 8 is an incredible tool. I think it does serve the purpose of healing, anti-inflammation, pain alleviation, sleep, all those great things. And I mean, people could operate a business strictly off of just Delta 8, right? Just truly.
Right. Hey, and more stuff to, more stuff to learn about. And to that point that you made talking about regulations, and again, not only have you done CBD, but you've also, you've been talk a little bit about that process of applying for, the actual THC cannabis business and where you at in the process with that.
Man, I think that is the hardest thing. And I had a child, so right. I think the the second hardest thing in the entire world. So like with applying for licenses, right, you have to have a location. In the city in which I'm licensed in, there are no pre-existing buildings. So we're talking about building something from dirt, cement slabs, plumbing, electric, having to wait on Edison. All these different things come into play, not even including your architectural plans, your engineering plans. I learned about runoff slopes that your building kind of got to be tilted a little bit. So it's extreme when talking about cannabis licensing. Um, Back in 2017, I applied. Well, first I did an entire year of just consulting and applying for other people's licenses. Kind of, got my flow about it. Like I kind of just figured out how to do it through trial and error. I volunteered for an entire year, just giving my time, service, just to learn. Right. But after that, like I locked in and absorbed that information. So I have currently, in 2017, we applied for 11 conditional use permits, 9 mixed lighting greenhouse, 10,000 square feet, 2 manufacturing, 1 non-volatile solvents, and then the other volatile solvents. And then truly just through life, had to just kind of pivot and try to figure out like, wow, how are you going to be able to navigate and grow this side of the business, which has led me to CBD and hemp. Really just trying to kind of navigate everything because it's not as easy as I would have thought, and I knew it was going to be complicated. So where I'm at in that is really just trying to grow in the industry, take my knowledge base, and serve. So
Right. Absolutely. Well, I mean, talk about, like you said, one of the things that's dope is that it sounds like from every experience that you have, you always take something away from it and learn, like, and really learn from it.
yeah, I think it's an art form, man. I think we as a people, we are more creative, we are more determined, and we are filled with grit and resilience. So I think as a people, that's just kind of our nature. But I always believe that any obstacle will be turned into opportunity, and that's called alchemy. So in essence, we're all alchemists, and we're just out there really figuring out how to navigate to continue to grow and evolve. So that's yeah, that's
Yeah, I see. So you about to get it started now. So, this is something I would love to hear from you because you're always dropping dope quotes. I see you always, dropping stuff from from good books. The Alchemist, that's one of my favorite books. What are some of your favorite books that you really read for inspiration?
man. I feel like I have like a core set of books. I love Think and Grow Rich. Napoleon Hill. He just dropped so many nuggets of insight that
Right.
really transcend. So I love that book. I read it all the time. Um, I literally have like a list. Where's my books? Dare to Lead is another good book. The Art of War. Um, I mean, The Alchemist is an incredible book as well. The hard thing about me is like I will read half a book and then I'll jump to the next book. So I literally will need to read a book like 7 to 8 times before I'm just like, that's the book. So those are the ones that I would say everybody should check out for sure.
Yeah. Now I see you. Like I said, I see you always in a lot of different ones, and I've been taking notes, like keeping some of them. But again, like it seems like we're on a lot of the same type of books and stuff that we read.
Mm-mm.
Um,
That's where
and
they hit
so
books.
no, there. Oh yeah.
That's
So
the
I
thing.
was just and I was just going to say, this theme of service, right? Like you've always taken what you've learned to be able to progress and go on and do other things to help others, not just yourself but others around you. And now you're on the city planning commission. Talk about what inspired you to do that, and what are some of your goals to really impact your city.
Wow. I mean, I have an entire book full. Okay, let me stop. No, so truly, coming into 2020, like 2020 was hard for all of us. That really was like a test from God, I believe. So while in that like humble place of dang, like what do we do? How do we keep growing? I'm here serving patients, but come on, God, like there's got to be more. Um, I just kept asking, like, what does 150% look like? That was just my question that I just kept writing over and over. What does 150% look like? So, like in my city, they asked if anyone wanted to be on the planning commission, and there were like 20 people who signed up. And out of all those 20 people, I truly did believe I was the most qualified. I also have like my real estate license. Real estate is king. That's where everything begins at. And in my city, I felt like I had a certain skill set on the logistical side, on the planning side, have a lot of knowledge in the cannabis space to be able to create impact in that position. So I signed up, and I had to go through the interview process. I had to go through probably more trials and tribulations than most people, but I felt like that was the next best thing in which I could impact the community, in which I could serve, not just for myself, not just for my own business, but I could serve for the people. And I could, bring in environmental justice perspectives. I could bring in equity and redlining perspectives to really, really help advance the movement and be an impact leader. Because we're not here just for ourselves. We're here to serve humanity. So truly, I mean, I just was committed to service, needed to figure out like, how am I going to serve with the skill sets that I have gained over the past years. And really the goal right now is we're going to be completing our 5 to 10 year plan for our city. We just passed mixed use. I made a motion. It was like cool, right? It was my first motion, but we made a motion for mixed use land policy ordinance. So now we're just putting tools in the toolbox. So we're passing all these innovative ordinances. We just passed tiny homes. I was a part of passing cannabis. So now just really, really trying to create that strategic 5 to 10 year plan of a sustainable community in which there are opportunities for our people to grow and expand. And it's a tiny, tiny little city. It is a tiny little city, but over the next 5 to 10 years, we'll see growth. We have over 70 active cannabis developments active right now. So it's slowly growing. So I'm excited and just ready to make more impact.
Yeah, absolutely, man. You're doing so many things. I want to know what's next. What are some of your other professional goals that you have outside of cannabis and what you're doing now?
What's next? You'll have to wait and see. I'm just kidding.
I
Um,
can take that.
yes. I really do. I like to keep my head down and do the work. Like I'm really an introvert by nature. I love this industry though. Like I just feel like it's filled with just so many like kings and queens, truthfully. Like I'm just like, I love y'all and I love seeing everyone win. So I mean, what's next is for me just to keep my head down and keep doing the work, finding ways that I can help others. If there's like, I used to consult, but now I'm just like I love Clubhouse, right? It's just like, no, what do y'all need to know? What y'all want to
Right.
know? But let me tell you, let me help you, let me guide you, let me tell you about some of these trials, tribulations, some of these maneuvers that you may have to be prepared for. So what's next is just continue to do the work, man. That's it.
I hear you. I hear you. Yeah, and I also love just being able to share information like platforms like Clubhouse, like doing this podcast is so dope to be able to like just educate. Um, for you have a very interesting perspective because you're young. You're still in your 20s. You're a woman. You're a veteran. For somebody that's coming from where you're coming from, a young person or a woman or a veteran that's looking at the cannabis industry, and seeing opportunity here. what's some of the best advice that you could give from what you've learned for, somebody that wants to pursue opportunities here?
Oof. I always take it back to Coach Carter. Okay, so real one of my favorite quotes is the truth is that like our deepest fear is not that we are inadequate. Our deepest fear is that we are powerful beyond measure, and it is our light, not our darkness, that most frightens us. So with that being said, this is not going to be easy to get in the industry, but go ahead and get your whiteboard, get your color-coded markers, and just start mapping who you are, what you like to do, your skill set, some people that you may know who may be able to plug you in, and connect the dots. Put pieces to your puzzle together. No matter what it is, you have pieces to the puzzle, and you can be successful in this industry if you don't give up, if you stay determined, if you stay committed, if you grind. Because one thing about it, like, we all hustlers here. Like, this is not anyone who ain't willing to hustle, and willing to get after it, and willing to be up at 4 a.m. and go to sleep at 12. Okay, like, it really will take another level of hustle. But if you're committed to the hustle, committed to the process of becoming, make your whiteboard, map out your skills, your goals, and then just start to execute and be patient.
Mm-hmm. Man, a plan, that's so critical. You got to have a plan for everything you're trying to do.
Yeah, you got to have and be prepared for that plan to change. That's the hardest thing about the plan, is like, you're going to have to reevaluate it probably every 3 to 6 months and maneuver. So yeah, but you could, I think, for straight up, I guess the number one thing would be, if you really want to get into the industry and you're not waiting on you need to be politically correct, and you're not waiting for, someone just to come hand you, money for you to move your dream forward. Find the way in which you can start to consult. You can start to do marketing for different companies. You can, work a job and put money away from that job to be able to make your first investment in your product, in your service, in your idea. We are so creative in your idea. CBD, like, that would be like nobody, there ain't no quick fix, but CBD would be one of like the most strategic ways that you would be able to get into this industry. So,
right. Well, you can get experience too. So
yeah, that's what it's all about, truthfully.
Mm-hmm.
Yes.
And you have an affiliate program and everything like that with Evolution of Healing, correct?
Yes. So we're going to be doing an entire rebranding, which I'm excited about. But we do have an affiliate program right now. So we have topicals, capsules, oils, vapes, flowers. We have it all. So we do have a program in which you could sign up for. We do try to stick to people who have either a little bit of experience in the industry or nurses and doctors. But the affiliate program you could sign up for, and then make cash from sending people our way to get products. And that's also a great idea for anyone looking to get into the space. Just plug in with people and have them help you sell your products. So
absolutely, that's a great idea. Anything else dope? Because I know you always got a lot. Anything else dope that you have going on that we didn't cover that you want to let people know about?
What's going on with my camera? Okay, there we go. Shoot, must have said I'm always on it. Like, I'm trying to just lay low and let's get it. The biggest thing I would say is that really just trying to find ways in which we could better support each other. Like, I feel like everyone really grinding and hustling in their own way. But right now, we're working on a delivery service in which we will distribute BIPOC-owned products out of the city of Los Angeles. Let me make that specific. Out of the city of Los Angeles, and really wanting to connect with other BIPOC-owned brands, women-owned, veteran-owned, Black, Indigenous, people of color brands, so that we can continue to support each other on our mission forward. So that would be like the plug that I would want to make. And then if anyone had any questions in the industry in which I could better serve your mission, feel free to reach out. I'd love to help.
Absolutely. And so tell everybody where they can find you and where they can find out more about Evolution of Healing on, website, social media, all of that.
Okay, so we are Evolution of Healing. You can find us online at Evolution. Ooh, Cash App. Evolution. And on Instagram at Evolution of Healing. And who am I? I am Mariah Aaliyah _ on Instagram. You can hit me up there. And yeah, I would love to continue to connect with the people.
Yeah, well, it was definitely super dope catching up with you early morning in Cali.
Yeah.
Looking forward to doing it again.
Yes, I appreciate it so much, man. Thank you for what you're doing, and thank you for this platform.
Yeah, absolutely. And everybody, thanks for tuning in to the Cannabis Diversity Report. Yo, we just launched the Patreon page today. So patreon.com/ the Cannabis Diversity Report. All y'all been talking about how much you love the show and how much you like what I've been doing for the industry. So hopefully you can support me in that. I would really appreciate you. Anyway, Mariah, is super dope having you come by. Everybody out there, peace. Looking forward to catching up with y'all later.
Peace.
Yep. Wow.